Hi guys, Togo here with a new video. In this video, we will talk about my top 4 least interesting specs for Dragonflight in PvP. It doesn't mean that it's going to be very bad, it doesn't mean that it's going to be very underpowered, but it just means that I'm just less interested to that. And if I do play those classes, it will be more because I like the fantasy of the class or because I always liked those classes, but not with like the idea of I want to play this design of specs because I do love it, because that's not gonna happen, for example. But it could change. Also, keep in mind, I'm saying that I do not love it. I'm not saying that you guys are not loving it. I'm not also saying that it's going to be underpowered or a F tier spec. I'm just saying that I would like it a bit different. I'm also going to talk about it once I see those specs in front of me with the talent tree. I'm going to discuss about the pain points I have and also what I would like to see change. And yeah, you will also just see in general the talent trees that I'm going for if I'm playing those specs. So let's start right away with, of course, the little Demonology Warlock. And it's not a surprise. I think if you all already saw my live streams or a few videos of mine, I'm not a fan of current Demonology design. I just feel like it's too zooish. I'm not playing Hearthstone. I don't care about having all the pets, all the cards on the field to overwhelm the enemy. I just prefer to have only one great big pet that doesn't really die, that's very strong. It's very hard to counter it, but that pet is strong. It will just kill people because of your spells that you are going to empower that pet. But now you have like a lot of mini pets. You have the doggies, you have the tyrant, you have too much clutter, too much screen clutter. And in a time where World of Warcraft tried to strive towards more accessibility but also more visibility for the viewers, especially streamers, YouTubers, even the AWC tournament. You want to have more visibility with all those summons, with all those problems that is just visual. They cannot make it OP because people will just lash out. And you just saw the past seasons how Demonology just is not a fun spec to play against because there is too much screen clutter. People prefer to just get combust down by a fire mage, for example. And for myself, I just prefer to play it more of a wrath thing. You're empowering your pet, or you're taking the power of the demons and in making you a demon and do more damage. That's the place that I would like to see for Demonology, but for now we don't have that, and that would be the tree that I will go for. So basically you are going to empower your pets as much as possible with also all the defensives that are actually needed to be tanky. The most notable talents that I'm going for are Teaching of the Black Harvest, because again, you're going to empower your pet. Having a reduced cooldown on the charge of the pet is also very useful because it can get guided, but not that much. Also demonic resilience, which is very good because your pet will die less. But if they do, you still have Fell Domination with, of course, Fell Impact, Fell Pact. You have also Soul Burn, again, to make you more tanky with Health Funnel. Excuse me, Health Stone. You also have Demonic Circle Teleport, which could give you a good movement speed buff. Soul Link, very strong with also Profane Bargain. So basically it will be a 20% reduced damage to you once you are under 35% health, which is not negligible. You also have Grimoire of Synergy, basically empowering you and your pet, and Fell Synergy being very good for Soul Leash. So you will have Dark Pact, you will have Fell Synergy, you will have Demon Skin, and Fell Armor. So basically you will have a lot of passive regeneration health-wise, but also just defensive-wise, you're going to be more tanky. And for my Demonology tree, I did go for a bit of a hybrid of possibilities that you can do for yourself with Power Siphon. You have, of course, Demon Bolts that you can do. I don't think it's the most optimized Demonology spec, but I would have played this spec if I would play Demonology in PvP. I think Affliction and Destruction for me are just more fun. The only reason why I would play Demonology right now, it would be if it's busted and you cannot go around it, then you are playing Demonology, but I prefer not playing Demonology. So we are going to try to empower our doggies with Hounds of War. We also have Ripped Through the Portal, which is the 4-set in Shadowlands. You also have Dread Calling. You have also a lot of great things like Carnivore Stalkers. You also have Felon Steel, again improving your doggies, and from the shadows, again improving your damage, but also from the dogs. So that is pretty much the build you can go for. There is a lot of flex talents. Really, I took Guillotine. I don't even know if it's good or not. You could put it in Dread Lash instead. You could go also a bit more south to get Fell Covenant, which is enhancing you instead of enhancing the pet. You have also here Doom. You can enhance Doom damage by picking this. So basically every pet you get will have 6% increased damage on Doom because it's a 2-point talent. So it could be very good. It could make your Doom like a big boom, and if it's the case, then maybe it's interesting to play it. Again, sorry guys, my nose is stuffed, so my voice is a bit different. But really, I think Demonology is just on the brink to be good. They just need to remove all the power of those little imps and put it on the Felguard, and maybe put it on a Tyrant, and you can still keep doggies if you want. But all those imps cluttering the screen is just not bearable for me. I just don't like to play against. I don't like to play with. I don't like to play as Demonology Warlock. So we will go to the next spec, and the spec is Holy Paladin. And the class tree, I'm very happy because you do get Rebuke. You have also some possibilities to be a bit more flexible versus a magical user. So you have a Blessing of Spell Warding, which is very nice. You do also have a lot of good synergies with your Holy Tree, but the only thing I don't like, and I think a lot of people don't like, is the Holy Power thingy going on for Holy Paladins. I think since the inception of Holy Power for Holy Paladins, everyone just detests it. People don't like to play around World of Glory. Again, I play Wrath, and whenever I'm playing Holy Paladin in Wrath, because for some reason I need to heal in dungeons, or for some reason I need to heal in Paladin PvP, I just feel so much better playing with Sacred Shields, with of course the Holy Shock, with also Flash of Light, Holy Light. All those abilities are very cool to use. Also making Beacon of Light a CD that you can pop whenever you want, but it does cost a lot of mana and does do one-on-one healing is interesting. You could put it a bit more CD to it, or you could put more of a skill usage thing to it in Dragonflight. But I think it's very fun to play. It's more interactive. Of course, you have fun things like, for example, Barrier of Faith. You have also Power of the Silver Hand, which is a good passive. You also have Imperial Legacy, which basically is the Necrolord's empowering effect whenever you are using your Hammer of Vengeance. You do get this, Vengeance Hammer, excuse me. You have Divine Toll, which is also a fun ability to use. But I think all the good things are cluttered with all those weird bad things, which is Holy Power. Like, it's having a good stack, and then you have like some parts that are really rotten, and those rotten parts just spreads over the good things. And for me, Holy Power is a rotten thing for Holy Paladin. Maybe for Retribution Paladin it is debatable. I'm gonna be honest. I prefer to play in Wrath wherever I didn't have Holy Power, and whenever Holy Power was not a thing, I felt like it's more fun in general to play this class. I think a lot of things could just change to just not use Holy Power. No more spenders and builders and spenders. Just spend whatever you want for specific situations. If you want to heal yourself, Divine Storm is quite nice, for example, while you're hitting the enemy with Retribution Paladin. But all those things are really cluttered with Holy Power, and for me, Holy Power is such a bad thing for the game that I would like it to be removed, also for Protection Paladin. But it is what it is. So for now, we play Holy Paladin as such. I think it will be a very good spec in general in PvP because I see a lot of good things. Again, Barrier of Faith, it is very good in PvP. Power of the Silver Hand, also averaging wrath, of course, it still stays something very good. Here you can play with Empyrean Legacy, and you can, again, I think the tree that I've made is not very optimal. I think breaking down is probably super needed for that build, but again, a lot of things are really interchangeable, and I think if you are looking for a good efficient healer, Holy Paladin might be doing the trick. But I think in general, I prefer to play Disc Priest, I prefer to play resto Druid, I prefer to play resto Shaman, and Holy Paladin is more like, okay, it's a flex pick. Whenever I'm playing Retribution Paladin, I need to heal, I'll go Holy Paladin, no problem. But I'm not liking my time as Holy Paladin, right? Anyways, big disclaimer again, it is not my intention to give you bad ideas or bad feelings about specs. If you like Holy Paladin as is, you do you. If you like Demonology Warlock and you prefer to play like a zoo playstyle, you do you. But for me, those specs, if they are changed into the ways I would like them to change, they might be very fun. That's the problem. So I would remove just Holy Power and just put some power into Holy Shock, put some power into Holy Light, Holy Flash of Light, and just remove Word of Glory by itself. I think Word of Glory, since its inception, is a spell that I really didn't like throughout its existence. I just prefer to play around Holy Shock and cast spells. But I know in this current day and age that it is very hard to cast spells without getting punished. But I think that's the CC and the mobility creep and the power creep that a lot of classes have at this very moment. Alright, the next class that I'm going to talk about is Frost Decay. It's a class that I always liked, and I feel like they really drop the ball all the time with DKs in general. They did not really remove anything, but I feel like they could do a lot more. I'm still going to play DK, I'm still going to play Frost DK, I'm just not excited towards it because they didn't really get any cool things. They do get a lot of things back that they had, but again, it's always depending on balancing. If the numbers are correct, it's going to be good. If the numbers are bad, it's going to be Shadowlands 2.0 again for DKs, for Frost DK especially. They are too reliable on Pillar of Frost. But now I've made a tree where it is less reliable, but you need to build crits. So basically the important facts on class tree and Frost DK tree, basically this is always going to be picked regardless, unholy or not. Unholy I think gets raised dead, and other things maybe like enfeeble, which could be interesting. But as a Frost DK, you could go for Permafrost, you can go for a lot of good defensive talents, a lot of good offensive talents with, of course, Asphyxiate and Blind being possible as Frost DK and Unholy DK. So I think PvP-wise, it's still going to be very good, right? But I think Abomination Limb will do no good damage because there is no conduits anymore. It will be basically just a disruption of the team, basically. I went for Unholy Bond, but those 2 points are really flexible. I don't know how good it is or not. You could go for Blood Draw, but I tested it on the PTR. It doesn't really heal for a lot, so I don't know if it's worth 2 points. And the good thing is you can go for Icy Talents and Empower Rune Weapon. And I wanted to talk about it. There is a possibility where dual wield would be better for Frost DK than two-hander, because you do need to waste a lot of talent points to make a two-hander actually hit for something. So you do have to go for Might of the Frozen Wastes, you do have to go for Murderous Efficiency, because you do need those 2 points to go further to Might of the Frozen Wastes. And in general, this build is made for Obliterate and Pillar of Frost. So you have Pillar of Frost, you have Ice Cap, which basically, if you are critting a lot, you will have your Pillar of Frost every 30 seconds, for example. So it is more of a crit build than a mastery build. I think if you're getting towards 20% crit, I think it could be interesting to play around in arenas, but it has a slow build-up. You will not burst right away with just a mastery build, but with a crit build, you could, for example, burst more often, a little bit less, and that would be maybe interesting to play around in arenas. But it's always depending on the numbers. If the numbers are correct on obliterate, it will be good. If the numbers are bad, it will not be fun to play. So basically, this spec revolves around being fun if the balancing numbers are right. If the numbers are not right, it is going to be a very boring spec to play. And I think it will be Shadowlands 2.0. But I have high hopes because you do have more CC, you do have more self-sustain, you have a lot more defensives, you do have a lot of cool things, like for example, Frigid Executioner, which is a good legendary that you could not really have if you went for the AoE stun. Now you can have the extra damage on obliterate plus the refunding of the runes and go for the AoE stun. And you also have Chill Streak on the talent tree, which opens a PvP talent. You also have Obliteration and Ice Cap, so basically a crit build could be happening. Also here, Might of the Frozen Wastes, every auto attack you're critting will grant you a killing machine. So basically having 20%, which means we'll be having 1 out of the 5 strikes a killing machine proc. So it could be very interesting to play around. But again, it depends about the actual numbers. Here, for example, consuming killing machine grants you 20% in critical strike chance for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. I think it's quite nice because then you will have even more procs of killing machines, and that by itself could be fun. But again, it depends about numbers. And I feel like this tree is way too reliant on numbers to be correct. So that's interesting to look at. Shattering Blade could be also very fun, again depending on the numbers. 60% increased damage of 0 is 0, but if it does quite good damage, 60% could be a real good value, so I look forward to see that in game. On the PTR it's very hard because the numbers are scuffed, it's not balanced, but I look forward for Dragonflight to test this because I'm still going to play Death Knight. That's 100% going to happen because I do like Death Knights. But I hope that False Decay finally gets a average to A tier spot in 2s or in 3s. That would be very lit. Alright, let's talk about my last but not least favorite spec out of Dragonflight. And it has actually nothing to do with the fell tree. I think the class tree is just scuffed. And I heard they will change it. I heard they will go for more or less less points to spend for specific amounts of talents. Like for example, Nurturing Instinct, I think it's going to be a 2 point or a 1 point. Same for Killer Instinct. So there are a lot of 3 pointers that could be removed, like for example Lycara's teachings. But once it's getting removed and you have some shuffle around, it could be interesting to play. But for now, you do lose more than what you win. The good thing is about the Feral Tree is now you have a good Ferocious Bite build. And that would be the build that I would play if I played Feral Druid in Dragonflight. So basically the most notable things that I'm going for is a little Berserk build, which basically goes for Berserk with Berserk Heart of the Lion. So we will have faster Berserk, so basically you will have every 2 minutes a Berserk instead of every 3 minutes, so it's quite nice. You could go for Berserk Frenzy if you really desire, but I prefer to go for more interesting talents. For example, Relentless Predator, energy cost of Ferocious Bite reduced by 20% is quite nice. You also have the Taste for Blood conduit that you had in Shadowlands going in the talent trees for Dragonflight. You also have Dreadful Bleeding, again your rip damage doing more damage. Your Brutal Slash also is very good for building combo points, but Vein Reaper is also very interesting because you will not have to maintain Rip and Rake all the time, because you will have a longer dot whenever you apply it. You also have Apex Predator Craving, which is a legendary that you never used in PvP. Now you could use it because your rip damage has a 4% chance to make your next Ferocious Bite free. And it's free damage, so whenever it procs, you're going to do a big Ferocious Bite. And you could then combo with, for example, a maim. And then you can go for a Convoke, for example, and you can just obliterate someone with that. The things that I would change is probably Frantic Momentum. 6%. chance per combo is really low. You have literally assassination rogues, even just rogues in general, having the same but better because it's always proccing. This is going to proc 30% of the time, every time you're going to use your combo points. So is it going to be good or not? Depends. I went for Convoke Your Spirits, but the 2-minute one, not the 1-minute one. It really depends about, again, numbers. If the numbers are correct, I think the 1-minute one could be very good. But I think with this build, you don't really need to convoke every minute. I think a convoke will be a great bait for, let's say, a trinket usage, or for example, if you want to burst someone down whenever they don't have a trinket. We also have Soul of the Forest, which is still a very good talent, and we went for Lion Strength, which is basically going to improve your rip and your ferocious bite even more. And then, of course, Feral Frenzy, having a bit more bleed damage just here and there, and being able to do Feral Frenzy, Maim, Convoke could be a very good build to actually go forward. But I think the class tree should change in general. I think in the Feral tree, it really depends again about numbers. I think the problem with Feral and DK is pretty much numbers. If the numbers are correct on, let's say, Ferocious Bite, Rip, and Rake, then it's going to be alright. If the numbers are not correct, then basically you have nothing to save from this tree, because it's all damage. There's no utility there. It's basically all damage. So also no CC. I don't see CC. So you have basically only damage on that tree, and if the tree is not doing its job damage-wise, then I think it's going to be failing a lot. But we will see. I hope it's going to be good, because I do like Feral in general, because in Wrath of the Lich King I do play Feral, for example. I'm even maining it. But in Shadowlands I didn't like it. I didn't like the bleed playstyle. I didn't like to I don't know, I just didn't like how it felt to play Necrolord. I just liked the Night Fae one, but the Night Fae one felt more cheesy. It didn't really work in trees. But with this build, I think in trees it could work, because you have a lot of triple threats with Convoke the Spirits. Of course, you went for the Feral Frenzy, Berserk-ish build with, of course, an extra legendary, basically giving you Ferocious Bites for free. But we will see. I need to test a lot with this tree. It might be that this tree is like bad, what I'm doing, but I really prefer to play around Ferocious Bites and doing big bites, big damage, big one-shots. That's what I like in general. So thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate you. Again, I know it's a bit of a negative video, and the balancing changes could do a lot for those specs, but I feel like if they went back to the original ideas for their specs, for example in MOP, in WoD, not WoD, in Cataclysm and Wrath of the Lich King, I think those specs would be more fun. But we will see. We have to test it out and see for ourselves if it's going to be good or not. So thank you for watching. Have a great day, and we will see each other very soon with a new video. I hope I'm getting well very soon so I can pump more videos. But hey, we will see each other very soon with a new video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.